Yes, you guessed it. I am trying to outdo Dan Ives in terms of having extremely colorful, wild, and clashing clothes. Um, no, not really. What he wore today, if you watch that particular video, you might want to go check it out. Nobody's ever going to beat that one. It was not good. And Dan, I recommend you back off a little bit. And otherwise people are going to really start to wonder about you. No, I'm, trying to do what Californians do when they go to North Carolina. And that is, I still want to wear my Hawaiian shirt, but it's cold outside. So, anyway, yeah, so I'm going to throw you off again with a couple of things here because I am going to talk negative about ARK Invest. Oh yeah, no, I'm not happy with their analysis of Optimus. We'll talk about that in a couple of seconds. What we do want to talk about really quickly is what happened with the market, and then we'll get to that. What happened with the market today is it continued to have to, try to decide what's really going on out there. Are we having, a horrible business cycle where the Fed is going to go, oh yeah, we definitely need to cut, or are we having a great business cycle and the cycle is so great that the Fed's going to go, oh no, we're going to take a pause. And so it's very confusing for investors to try to decide whether they should, get the bond prices up or the bond prices. When I say prices, are yields up and down. What's going to happen with the equities? Are they like, yeah, we're off to the races, keep on going up and up and up? We watch Tom Lee here. We hear about Tom Lee's program, and Tom Lee and his partner both say now they think that there will be a bit of a sell-off right now, and then but we'll still end up at the end of the year. Now, if the numbers are right, I haven't seen it myself personally, but Tom Lee seems to be above 7,100 now, which is my number for the end of the year. Write that down. 7,100 is my number for the end of the year. Tesla was down 3.65%. I got the wrong glasses on, so it's going to be difficult for me. Down 3.65%. The NASDAQ was down 0.31. The Dow was up 0.16, and the S&P was up 0.13. So everything came back except at the very end, Tesla fell off the end of, they just fell off at the end. And when everything else was still going up, I have not seen anything that I can find that would say why Tesla decided to go a different way than the market. And then after hours went back up 0.61%, ending at 432. So, and that's an odd number. So I'm not sure why it ended up at 432, but we will dig into it over the weekend. My time is a little limited because I'm here kind of on vacation in North Carolina with my family. And, three children under five, they take your time. Yeah. So, okay. All right. So, the rest of the market, we had the bonds were unfortunately, well, let's no, I think they ended up down. Let's take a look. If I can get it to register here. Yeah, I hate to tell you all my troubles, but the Wi-Fi is a little slow in this hotel. It's not a hotel, it's my kid's house. But for some reason, the Wi-Fi seems to be a little bit slow in giving me numbers. Maybe I'll get it, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll put it on pause for a second. Oh, here we go. I got it. All right. So we got the bonds unchanged for the day at 4093. So that's still way too high, but at least it's unchanged. It was higher. It was also lower, but it ended up unchanged. We've got oil at up 41 cents, 59.84. So that is again under 60. Natural gas down 0.76, but still way above 4. Gold up 1680, slightly above 4,000. Again, like I say, it's pretty funny. Everything's dealing with these round numbers right now. Silver trying to get above 50 again at 48.22, up 0.57%. Copper at just under $5. It had been over $5 for the last 2 or 3 weeks, but then that copper mine in Chile started being able to produce again, so it's down under 5 at 496. The dollar on track for a flat week, it says here. That's the headline. And Bitcoin up 2,028, back up above 100,000, 102.5. And then there's no pre-market, of course. All right. So maybe people are starting to get a little wary of the long government shutdown. Obviously it's impacting flights. That's going to hurt the airlines, plus make people upset. There's going to be other things that it's going to start to really impact little pieces of the economy here and there. And there's all kinds of conversation now that the Republicans are offering this and the Democrats are offering that. They seem to be a very long way away. And I've heard people saying everything from that it'll be solved this weekend and back in shape on Monday or Wednesday to it's not going to be solved until after Thanksgiving. So there you go. I don't know what it's going to be. I think I've said it over and over again, I personally believe that the Republicans should end the filibuster only as to continuing resolutions with regard to the budget. Not change the filibuster at all with regard to other matters, but just with that one. There's a ton of precedents. They did it first with federal judges and then with Supreme Court judges. So I think we could go one step further and say, no, continuing resolutions are too important to allow one party or the other, which has been done by the Republicans a couple of times in the past also. It's way too important to allow one party to hold the entire country hostage, shutting down the government for 36 days. So that's my opinion. The president is calling for a complete elimination of the filibuster. I think that's a very bad idea, and you know how I love Trump. So I think in this particular case, I think that would be a very bad decision, but I do think you could eliminate it just for CRs. All right, so who else am I going to be shockingly not thinking is very smart today? It would be one of ARK Invest's people. He's probably a really smart guy. She only hires really smart guys. But I think his analysis is completely wrong when it comes to Optimus. And I'm going to explain the best I can. Now, Hans Nelson, I've had him on the channel a couple of times. He's also an extremely smart guy. He interviewed ARK Invest Brett Winston. I've seen Brett a number of times on their channel. Anyway, they spent an hour the other day trying to convince somebody that the Optimus is going to take years to bring to market and $100 billion or more worth of compute. And Hans Nelson did not fight him at all. So maybe either Hans Nelson agrees or he just doesn't like to use his channel in a situation where he needs to fight his guest. And I've known many, many interviewers like that. I don't like to fight my guests when I have somebody on the show. I try to give them the benefit of the doubt. I try not to even correct them when they're wrong, but if they're too wrong, then I correct them. So I understand it might have been either one or the other. I haven't had a chance to ask Hans. But what I do think is that this is wrong and it needs to be corrected. So here's the two-part argument. Basically, he says that the Optimus will need between 10,000 and 1 million times harder, that it will be between 10,000 and 1 million times harder than solving Robotaxi. Okay, all right, so let's take that as part one. Then they go to all to explain that the training required to do the tasks in order to make it for general purpose, that's what it's going to take. $100 billion worth of compute in order to do that, and it's going to take years to do all that training. Nowhere in the video do they wonder aloud what Elon is. I'm sorry, that's part one. How did I get this in bad order again? They point to the software problem, but they also point to the durability of the hardware as another big hurdle. They seem to think that the body and the feet will be easy to program as well as on the hardware, bigger motors and whatnot, but they seem to think that they're a long way from solving the hands because of the repetitive use of the actuators, thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of time over many, many days, weeks, and months and years, and that the strain on the actuators will make it very hard to get them to big numbers in terms of production, and they'll always be under repair because the actuators will be breaking down. Well, I have to believe that Tesla knows the metrics. I just believe. I am not going to believe for a minute that Tesla doesn't know the metrics on the actuators, that they don't know what the key performance indicators are necessary in order to get the actuators to work repeatedly over years in order to be good enough to work in these robots. I'm 100% sure that they've stress tested them in so many ways that we can't even add up all the ways that they've stress tested them. And that they have been working on these actuators for, I think now 2 years. through many, many iterations. And now not only have they come up with actuators that they believe will be good enough to do the tasks, have enough power to do what they need to do, to be able to do it with a low enough wattage to be able to do with what it needs to do, but also they're not going to break down. And they're so confident of that they are going to allow another company to make some of their actuators. So no, I think I think there's no chance that this part of it is true. You let me know in the comments below whether you think I'm right or wrong, but I don't think they're going to break down. When it comes to the software, Elon promised that he would have you know, uh, a million piece line set up in Fremont. He's promised us that he'll be putting Optimus robots into use in the factories in the first half of next year. He's promised that. Now, these are not like, yeah, I think maybe with a little bit of luck. He hasn't ever said that. He hasn't said it take a lot of hard work. No, these are the plans. The hires have been made. The people have been hired. They're ready to go. And they're working on version 3. And of course, these guys are right about the hand. That's the hard part. But no, he's not going, oh, let's see, maybe with a lot of work and a little bit of luck, the hand will be ready. No, the hand is going to be ready. Is it going to be ready to do better than any surgeon at surgery? No, that's not the goal. Is it going to be ready to go into your home and hold your baby or do the laundry or change the light bulbs and grow your food and all the things I've talked about that the Optimus will eventually be able to do? No, of course not. No, it's going to start out being able to do rudimentary tasks like the other ones claim they can do. It's going to move something from here to there. It's going to screw something in. It's going to weld something. It's going to inspect something. It's going to do all kinds of rudimentary, repetitive tasks that it can do without having to have a ton of training. And those jobs are in the millions and millions and millions. I know I always talk about my water bottle company, but I can tell you that there was somebody who sat in front of the injection blow molders, extrusion blow molders, and watched the bottles fall out of the molds, and then would pick the bottles up, tear off the tabs on the bottom, and put them in another box. That's the job. That was 100% the job. The bot can do that. Then there was over in printing, which is a much more sophisticated job. The person who was operating, after they got it all set up and ready to go, their job was to pick a water bottle up, put it into a chuck or a holder, and then push a pedal, and then use their other hand to take the bottle out of the chuck and put it into a box. I think the robot can do that. What about other kinds of printing? Let's go to, I spent a lot of my time last year a couple of years actually, working with a t-shirt print place. I put up a video one time that showed you step by step all the jobs that Optimus can do there. There is a person who lays it on the platen. Just that's what they do. They take the thing and they lay it out and smooth it. That's what they do. I think bot can do that. I think so. I think a lot of these bots can do that job. Then there's somebody else after the printing is done. And by the way, I think the bot could also push the button to make the thing go around and have the printing being done. Now, I think they'll still use humans to do the setup. But once the setup is done, the bots are going to come in and do the rest. And then somebody else, when it's done, they pick the t-shirt off and they put it on a dryer. I think the bots can do that. And then the dryer goes to the other end. And sometimes, depending on what you're doing, you might want the t-shirts to go ahead and just drop into a box, or maybe you want to actually be picking them up and sending them on to another process. So, and then there's a matter of folding. We know the robots can fold, so you might be folding these t-shirts to prepare them to go inside of a bag. I think the bots will be able to fold the t-shirts and put them in the bag. And then you seal the bag, and then maybe you put a sticker on it. And then you put it in another box. And then you put the box and you tape the box, and you might put it through an automatic taper, or maybe the bots tape the box. I think, and I could go on, and I could do this for days in terms of the kind of jobs that these bots will be able to do. Now, in my factory, I was running 4 shifts. So therefore, I was paying right now, today, it would cost me, in California, it would cost me $400,000 per position. So for that guy to stand in front of those extrusion blow molders, $400,000, $100,000 per position per year. Is that right? There's something wrong with that number. I know I'm not using that person is probably making today $25 an hour. So let's do $25 now. It's $50,000 a year. Add another third. So call it $65,000 a year. Okay, times four. 65 times four is 200. So not 500, 400,000, 400, 300 and something thousand. Okay, but you also don't have to hire. You don't have to fire. You don't have to promote. You don't have to do performance reviews. You don't have anybody that takes off sick. I mean, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The line is long. You don't need a manager to manage the person. I mean, it just goes on and on. So the 400,000 might not be that far off, but let's use 250,000. That means as an owner, I'm perfectly happy to pay $100,000 for that bot. No, 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 not buy it. I'm willing to pay 100,000 a year. Yeah, 100,000 a year, and I'm going to get 230, 240, $250,000 of value. Yeah, I'll pay the 100,000 a month, a year rather, all day long. Now we don't know whether Elon's going to charge that or not, but I'm telling you that these bots are ready to do those kind of jobs. We've seen some of the ones in the factories as well. There's inspection jobs where all the bot has to do is go over and inspect. We got jobs in the factory where they're picking up a piece of metal and they're carrying it over and putting it into some kind of a jig or whatever. You've got, I mean, these jobs just go on and on. There's so many of them. So that is my opinion, is that in the spring rather, Tesla will start making a bunch of bots. They'll put them in the factory. They will show that they can do the jobs. They will try additional jobs. They'll add more and more complexity. And then when they've got enough complexity to make something that is going to be used in and out, or in a bottle factory, or in another automotive factory, or you just go down the line, because there's always those kind of jobs in every factory. When they've got enough capability to do those kind of jobs, then they're going to start selling them or renting them. And I just don't have the slightest doubt. It's not going to be an actuator problem, in my opinion, and it's not going to be a software problem. And then over the next 5 years, I wouldn't even argue whether it's 100 billion or 50 billion. Elon said it's going to be tens of billions of dollars of additional hardware, chips that are going to have to be built. I'm not going to argue whether it's 100 billion or 50. He might be right about the 100 billion. But then at the end of that period of time, then somewhere along the way, those bots are going to be capable of working in your house, working around children, being able to do all the odd tasks and the odd work, and probably also be able to do some or all surgeries, and many, 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 many more tasks that are very complex. Well, let me know in the comments below. What do you think? Hans, I mean, these guys are way smarter than me. Well, have they got factory background? I don't know for sure. So I'm just telling you, I would have taken the original bot, the very first one we ever saw, the one that was put together like from the hardware store, with masking tape and I'm sorry, duct tape and chicken wire. I would have bought that bot to work in my factory. It already had enough skill sets to work in my factory. Anyway, that's my theory. Let me know in the comments below what you think. But if I'm right, we're talking about millions and then 10 million a year and then hundreds of million, according to Elon. And that's going to be a very, very big stock when that happens. That's all I've got for you right now. Again, this is only the second video today. Last night, I think, was a Brian Wong video, which did pretty well. But if you didn't watch it, you can go back and watch that one. I'll try to remember to put that up here in a minute. And tomorrow, don't know. I think I'll try to get you at least 2 videos, but maybe not. We'll see. We'll see how many I can figure out how to wedge into my time with my family. It's been great talking to you.